Back again with Babe Ruth on Diamond Diehards. Babe, we're recording this on Jackie Robinson Day, the day that we honor the player that broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. And one of our very loyal listeners and supporters, Dwayne Morris, is the first one to ask a listener question for the Babe. And his question for you, Babe, is what made Jackie Robinson the best player to break the color barrier?
Well, now, that's a hell of a question, Riz. I never got to see Jackie play, not the way I should have. By the time he came up in 47, I was done, but I heard about him. Everybody heard about him. See, it wasn't just that he could play ball, and he could, kid. He could really play. Fast on his feet, smart base runner, could hit, could field. But what made Jackie the right fella? He had the guts for it, the courage. They threw things at him, called him names I won't repeat, and he played ball, didn't back down, didn't fight back the way a lot of fellas would have. That took more strength than hitting a home run ever did. I'm telling you, we kept a lot of good ball players out of the game because of the color of their skin. That was wrong. Jackie proved it was wrong, and he did it the hard way, by being the best at what he did. Good question, Dwayne.
Babe, do you think that your barnstorming days where you played in integrated baseball gave you an insight of what the game was going to look like once it was integrated and black players were allowed to play long after you retired?
You know, yeah, I think it did. When we barnstormed, we played all kinds of fellas, good ball players, didn't matter where they came from. We played ball, and some of those fellas could really hit, could really play. I remember thinking, why aren't these guys in the big leagues? I mean, some of them were as good as anybody I ever faced, better than some. But that's the way it was then, kid. That's just how it was. I didn't think about it the way I should have. I was young, I was winning, I was Babe Ruth. But yeah, when Jackie came up all those years later, it didn't surprise me that he was great. Didn't surprise me one bit, because I'd seen it. I'd seen what was out there. All that talent locked outside the gates. We wasted a lot of good baseball, Riz. A lot of good ball players never got their chance. That was wrong.
Babe, when you played, there were only 8 teams in the American League, 8 teams in the National League, and you also had a very strong Negro League contingent that was never playing organized games that counted against one another, except for like we were talking about with the barnstorming games. Do you think the level of talent ended up being relatively equal in the Negro leagues as compared to the major leagues back in the days that you were playing as a result of there just not being as many teams as there are here in 2026?
That's a smart way to think about it, Riz. See, with only 16 teams total, yeah, the talent got concentrated. All the best fellas, they had to go somewhere, and a lot of them, they went to the Negro Leagues because that was the only place that would have them. I faced some of the greatest pitchers in the world, but I heard about fellas in the Negro Leagues, Josh Gibson, Oscar Charleston, fellas people said could do things with a bat like nobody else. Could they played in my league? Could they beaten me? I don't know. But he'll tell you, if they were as good as people said they were, then yeah, the talent was spread awful thin in the majors because we kept the best talent out. 16 teams means everybody's fighting for the same roster spots. You take away half the good ball players, you hurt the game, you hurt the quality of play. We didn't see it that way then, but we should have.
That was the Babe. Now it's us. Diamond Diehards is on. Along with the dog, Jeff Healy, this is Joe Rizzo. Thanks for checking us out. Part two with the Babe. And Dog we're recording this on Jackie Robinson Day, April 15th, 2026. And this is the first foray into having some interaction where we're getting our listeners and supporters involved. And thanks to our pal Dwayne Morris, a longtime supporter, for submitting that first question for Babe. If you want to do that in the future, interact with us in the comments here on YouTube or wherever you are finding the podcast. Put in the comments, the question if you want to ask it to Babe, or we got Ty Cobb coming up. And if you have a suggestion of who you want to hear, then let us know in the comments. Blow them up over there. Don't forget to subscribe everywhere, especially on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you get your podcasts. So, Dawg, I thought it was a good question by Dwayne. Very apropos for Jackie Robinson Day here. And I got excited when I was putting this together, and that answer came along.
Yeah, that was a great one to kick it off. Obviously, we've talked Jackie before on the show, and it's always a great one. We get the whole army background too, which always a bit of a thrill for me to get in there too. But yeah, it was a great one. Great, thanks so much for Dwayne to contribute that to us. Uh, Great way to kind of kick it off to start off the listener questions. And it was interesting. It ties a little bit what we were talking in our first episode with the Babe, talking about how they would have done and what the talent pool would have been like had you had the Negro League players intermixed with the Major League players as well. So yeah, good conversation, great start, and looking forward to more conversations going forward.
You had a nice little note that we were talking about beforehand about a Jackie Robinson Joe Lewis Army combo.
Joe Lewis was at Fort Riley where Jackie Robinson first came into the Army, and he was selected among the first of the officer candidate schools. So obviously, like, non-racial for the first OCS class in June 1941. But basically, no blacks were getting allowed in. They just weren't getting picked. And Joe Lewis was there at Fort Riley, and he advocated for the black athletes or sorry, the black soldiers to be allowed to attend OCS and become officers. And basically, Joe Lewis kicked that off for World War II. And that started a friendship for a lifelong friendship between Jackie Robinson and Joe Lewis. And I said I'd never seen that one before, but it totally kind of foots together, and it's a proud thing to recognize.
It sort of harkens back when we used to do Veteran of the Day. Show has
That
morphed into many different forms over the years, and the Veteran of the Day segment never seemed to really take off. But I mean, there
so
were a lot of good ones. We did a lot of good
there were a
ones.
lot of good ones. Say it was near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, I,
But yeah,
I, I, I
look
know.
it up, look it up on the YouTubes, and you can go
I
find it
was
back.
always hoping that, like, I put it out there a lot, and I'm like, send us your Veteran of the Day, and like, it was like three people like ever did it, and I think we did like the now late Uncle Paul a couple of times. Um, so that was nice. Like, it was nice that like our sometimes our Veteran of the Day got to hear that they were the Veteran of the Day. But
That was pretty
the
cool.
babe, the babe is not the real babe. We got to just put that disclaimer out there. The real babe passed away in 48, but he was alive when Jackie Robinson debuted. So I thought at least that was kind of interesting the way the AI babe did make some acknowledgement of it. But uh, like, listen, the AI babe was not, I don't think we're teaching him to be controversial, but I don't really feel like the Babe would have been controversial about that because he did have a history of, in the, like I mentioned in some of the questions, like in the barnstorming era, he always played against the black players. Like he'd never had a problem doing that. And in fact, a lot of what you read and what you see in the history of Babe Ruth, a lot of people claim that he actually was black, that he had certain features that made people think that maybe he was black. But the idea of, and I've talked about this I think before, but the idea of baseball before integration and the records and things like that, um, it's just so much better now, that there is no debate that everybody can play. We're up to, I mean, 1947 now, right? Like that's 80 years. So, um, it's just about, yeah, 80 seasons, right? So it's 79 years, 80 seasons. So we have an 80-year sample of baseball, which is now longer than what it was before integration, and not to say that it was fully integrated very quickly, and the National League integrated much more quickly than the American League, but at least with, the more modern records and post dead ball, more baseball has been played fully integrated than was played not fully integrated. So, um, as a statistical game, that's one thing, but as a game that has an importance in Americana and the American history, right? These are two, Babe Ruth and Jackie Robinson are the two biggest, right? Dog.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. And it is great to see how baseball's been able to incorporate more and more. Again, start with Inri and the black athletes in America, and now all the international athletes that you're seeing come along, right? I mean, now exploding to WBC and stuff that is sort of spreading around the world as well. So that just means that the quality of product that or the quality of athletes in the mix at least um, just continues to grow for Major League Baseball, and that just makes for better better viewing for all us fans.
Yeah, it's such a great game. And you talked about the World Baseball Classic, 11 million people on the TV ratings checked it out. That's just the American number, right? Like how many people, like all of Venezuela was watching. A lot of the other countries probably were really keeping track of it, even if their team was out, they were still like the Caribbean countries and stuff were certainly still keeping track of it. And now, dog, like what you're seeing with um all these deals with like streaming services, there's so much money being poured into sports right now. It's not even funny. Like and the ratings and the viewership just keeps going up. Like look at the NBA. The NBA is getting oodles and oodles of money from streaming, right? They're basically getting like $77 billion over like 11 years from Amazon. And their regular season is a literal joke right now. You can't watch it. Like people who are dyed in the wool NBA fans are like, I can't, like I don't know who's playing on my team tonight. Like there's guys just sit out with the load management stuff has absolutely killed it. And now we're finally embarking on the NBA playoffs, and people are going to come around and say, okay, all right, I'm going to be back in. I'll check it out. Why? The reason is because they're pretty sure that the players that they're interested in, whose names they know, are going to actually play. And I got to wheel this back to baseball, right? Because we're talking about it. So you got your Met hat on. For those who can't see, Dog's got the Met hat on. Dog's the Met fan. I got the old time Yankee jersey on, even though they never wore a jersey like this. It's a Cooperstown collection jersey. Um, so the Mets, as we speak, are in the midst of a 7 game losing streak. They're 7-10. Offense not coming from anywhere. Juan Soto's still hurt. And the other day, they're in a huge spot in the game. And Lewis Robert, who's been their best hitter basically so far this young season, like there comes a spot where it's clearly time for Lewis Robert to grab a bat off the bench and give your team the best chance to win, the Mets. And the management staff who runs the rest was saying this is a full day off for Lewis Robert. And so Lewis Robert didn't grab a bat. Dog, like, what the hell is wrong with this generation? Like, could you imagine? Like, seriously, could you imagine if like Don Mattingly was taking a rest day, right? And somebody tried to come up to him and say, "Well, this is a full rest day off." You know what he would do with the bat? He would say he would hit the manager with the bat, incapacitate him, and walk out there and tell the other guy, hit the bench, buddy. Mattingly's hitting for you." Like, I know Lewis Robert is not Don Mattingly, but like
Well, unfortunately, he's a Met. He can't hit anything.
he's
So
actually been hitting. Like
I
he's
know that's the funny part on it. Yeah, it was funny. We went to the game Sunday. We took the Big Four, and me and the the Diamond Cat were out there, and they put the Mets put the OPS up on the screen and stuff. I was like, these are not bad if they were slugging, but for
Yeah.
OPS is like 500, 600. I would kill Mendoza. But like, what do you want the guy to do? I mean, it's he get 4 hits against the A's.
Dog, but at what
Can't win.
point, like, are we gonna watch as fans? And like we've just watched what it's done to the NBA. I like the NBA. Like I can't say it's in my top three because baseball, hockey, football, but I still like, and calling games, I was probably better calling basketball than I was. Like I know basketball. I love basketball. I like to watch basketball. I'm a deposed Nets fan, so I haven't had a team to root for in a long time. I'm like the only guy who's a basketball fan who roots for the radio announcer because it's Chris Carrino, our buddy. Going to the Hall of Fame, by the
Friend,
way.
friend of the show.
Go-
What's
But
that?
dog, like, what? Why the fuck are we gonna let them ruin the game? Like, it's baseball. Like, you play every day. Hit. He's got to hit. He's
It's
got
two
to
weeks
hit.
in. 2 weeks in. It's a long season. It's 2 weeks. Do we need a lot of load management? It's 2 weeks in. It's
No, you
yeah,
don't
it's
need it.
crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, you can see like the first week you're trying to get everyone in, try and get some at bats, keep them kind of fresh and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you're in last place. It's you kind of need to get something going on. You're the most expensive teams, and you're in last place, and you
Now
can't
look,
hit
it's
anything.
seven.
So I mean, it's
It's
the guys who are getting the money are the guys who are not out there hitting right now.
okay, but to be fair, it's 7-10. It's not. They're not 4-13.
Yeah,
So
you got swept by the A's in your house, so
the A's look
yeah,
pretty good. Looks, it's
not
baseball.
that good.
Stuff like that's going to happen, right? I look at it as in baseball, you don't overreact except if it's a 16 game sample. Like to me, you need a 16 game sample because for one, it covers more than 2 weeks. Not a lot more than 2 weeks, but like if things have been going bad for 2 weeks and then they continue on into week three, okay, you gotta really start looking at something. Guys in a slump, whatever, you let him go for a couple of weeks, see if he gets out of it. If his numbers progress to the back of his baseball card, then fine. And if not, after that, you start tinkering around, give a guy, a couple extra days on the bench, change roles a little bit, give somebody else a shot. And also 16 game blocks in baseball are 1/10 of the season, essentially. There's 162, right? So if you break it up into 16 games, you don't panic. Like if you're the Yankees, okay, Ryan McMahon with this bat absolutely sucks. He doesn't look like a major league player through 16 games, right? And in the latter part of the end of that first 16 game stretch, Ahmed Rosario has started. He was there to be the platoon to play third base against lefties, and now he's basically playing almost every day. He'll play the majority of the games for now. Okay, that's fine. But like our pals on our Fordham thread are saying, how do you let McMahon hit there and whatever? Well, it's to me, it's part of that 16 game stretch. You got to give the guy a chance to just see. Like you don't hit the panic button too early, but there is a point where you gotta you gotta say within a game like we have a chance to win this game. So what wins out between that 16 game sample versus today? And when it's resting a guy who's been, like a 28-year-old guy or whatever he is, like who has no current injury really, like and he can't come off the bench to just swing the bat like that. I don't get. If it's a McMahon situation where he's fine, but he's just in a terrible, god awful slump, and you say, well, I want to give him a chance, but you gave him, three chances earlier in the game, and now you need to win the game. Well, I could argue that one either way. The Robert one, I don't know. I can't excuse that. Like, there just has to be some point where we take a look at the managers who have done a lot of winning of big games, in the past X amount of years, like a, a Bruce Bochy and a Dusty Baker, older school guys who have the latitude to pull those guys off the bench, even if they say, okay, you're telling me it's a rest day, but like there's no such thing as a full rest day. Like if I need the guy, I'm going to use him. And those are the guys that win. And like Carlos Mendoza clearly doesn't have that clout to do that. And I'm not knocking Mendoza for that. Like he had to take that job when it was offered, but under the terms of David Stearns, where I'm sure the Yankees have the same deal with Aaron Boone, where it's like, yeah, you don't have the latitude. If it's a full day off, the guy's nailed to the bench and that's it. We tell you he's not available. He's not available. It just sucks. You're gonna become basketball if you let it become pervasive, dog. I gotta shut up and eat a drink.
You're bumming yourself out way too much, Riz. Like, we're 10% in. It's okay. It's gonna bounce back to it. I mean, you sort of said before on Mendoza, right? I mean, right now, I'm laughing at the superior intellect right now with Stearns, right? I mean, I root for the guy. He's a Met fan. I want him to do well, but all the moves in the offseason, they're not looking awesome right now. You basically turn it over and you want to get guys who are, you you essentially were trying to like sort of even out the Mets and get them from being, super high and super low, like everyone's all hitting and then nobody's hitting. And now you're just, you've leveled it out by nobody's hitting, right? The focus is on run prevention, and apparently I didn't realize it was for your own team at this point. Um, so, at some point, I mean, what you want Mendoza to do? Like he's there to put Stearns' product on the field, and that's what he's done. And, is it Mendoza's fault that these guys can't hit right now? We'll see. I mean, Lindor always gets off to a slow start, so you have that in your back pocket. Um, Soto's been out, obviously one of the best players in the game. He come back in, also that turns that lineup around tremendously. Um, so there's some hope. But before they lost seven in a row, they won four in a row, right? So they had some stuff kind of going on there. So yeah, we're having a little I'm having a little fun kind of poking with them a little bit, but yeah, at some point, someone's got to go out there and start producing for the Mets. And right now they're kind of wasting good starting pitching, like probably better starting pitching than we were expecting so far. Bullpen's actually been okay. Again, that's sort of the fear from last year, right? Your bullpen burns out early. You've lost Diaz, right? So it's weaker year over year. Um, that's even more susceptible to getting burnt out quick. So all the more reason that you need to get that lineup going to take the pressure off your pitchers.
Doug, I'm gonna give you a name. Okay. Dalton Rushing.
Never heard of.
Okay. He's the DH for the Dodgers tonight. He's a catcher by trade. He's one of the catchers there. Dalton Rushing is the DH for the Dodgers tonight. What does that mean to you? I say tonight, I should say on here on Wednesday, April 15th.
Uh, I guess they can afford to take a break because they're beating the Mets in all the rest of the games anyway. I mean,
Well,
it's kind of crazy, right? With all that lineup that they have, that this guy it winds
o
up being the DH for him.
Ohtani's pitching, but he's not hitting tonight.
Interesting. Interesting.
I feel like I wish that I would have seen the other pitching. Well, actually, is this only his second start? I think this is only his. Oh, it's his third start. It's his third start. So I'm wondering if. Well, let me see. Here's his game log. That's his pitching game log. Where's his batting game log? Uh,
Yeah,
okay,
trying to see
can't
if
give
he
you
uh
play
if
by
he hit the
play.
last time he was pitched.
Cleveland. He started against Cleveland, right? Yes. So he hit in that game, March 31st, April 8th. Did he bat? He did. So, yeah. So to me, this is a rarity. I wonder if it's going to be a new trend where maybe they're letting Ohtani not hit in the games that he is starting as a pitcher to give him a little extra rest uh, and make him human, somewhat human. But now, here's what I don't know. I have
You
to
can
admit,
experiment when you're 11-3.
are they, is it, I thought they're 13 and 4, 11 and 3. I don't know. So it's so hard to keep
Maybe
track.
I'm
All
high.
they do
Maybe I'm
is
high.
win, win, win,
I
no
know they're
matter
pretty
what.
high up. But they're 10 and 3.
Uh,
Maybe it might be. Maybe it's 10 and
uh,
3 through Sunday.
okay, we can't give you
Maybe I'm
play
a
by
couple behind.
play.
Oh,
They are 13 and 4 as of this
yeah, it's
moment in
close.
time.
Work's been busy.
So Ohtani, I guess the Dodgers just have so many bats now that they're like, you just pitch tonight. But okay, yeah. Oh, the rule. I don't know this rule now with the sort of like pitcher DH rule. So when he comes out of the game as a pitcher,
He can
he's
go play the
not,
outfield and oh, but can he hit? Oh, that's a good question.
well,
Can
he'd
he
have
hit
to,
then? Can
then
he
the
hit then?
pitcher would come into the line. Well, that he could, yes, he could do that. That's a regular rule. Like that would just be like any pitcher doing that who, like, since no other pitchers hit for
Yeah.
themselves, right? As the pitcher DH, the pitcher can still, like they always could, they could, come into the game and, play right field and, the right fielder leaves the game and that's now the pitcher spot. But
I guess the
can he
question is,
leave
does
the
the
game as a
DH
pitch? Once he
does the
leaves the
DH
game,
stay? I would guess the DH leaves,
no,
right?
DH would have to leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For him to hit in the game, the
So
DH would
whoever,
have to
yeah,
leave.
yeah. So if he
But
goes in and takes over, the guy who comes in to pitch is going to wind up going in the right field. Let's say he's going to right field. So it would go into the right fielder's slot and would have to bat in the batting order. I think because we're taking a guy who wasn't batting, now he's in. It's sort of like the inverse of normal, where the DH goes in the field and you lose the DH. I think you would think the inverse would also be true, that if you had a guy who was not hitting and now starts hitting, I think the guy who was purely hitting has to come out.
well, I think if he moves off the mound, right,
Yeah,
then you lose the DH,
yeah, I agree. I think that's it.
like no matter what. So
Yeah,
if he moves off the mound, you lose the DH. But I think then he gets inserted into the lineup into the
wherever
DH's
he
spot,
replaced,
and then whoever he replaced comes out
goes
of the
out.
game, and then
I
the
think it'd be
pitcher
the
hits in that
reverse. I
spot.
think he would go in wherever that position he was going to, that guy who came out, I think that's where Ohtani would wind up going. And I think you would lose and the pitcher would wind up going in the DH's slot.
The
The pitcher is going
pitcher.
to go in near the DH slot or the right fielder slot. I think it's because Ohtani was going taking over for the right fielder. I think he would go into that spot.
Actually, you know what? It depends on who leaves the game, I think. Wait, but if he's
Basically, two guys have to leave.
like,
Weirdly enough, like the right fielder
yeah.
has to, the right fielder has to go, and the DH has to go. Ohtani's going to replace one of the two, and he's going to replace the right fielder, and then the pitcher is going to wind up replacing the DH. And the only real question is which
What if the
slot he
DH
has to go to.
then also goes into the field? Like in this case, the DH is the catcher. So it could be a triple switch too.
Oh,
I don't know. This
that,
is a
I
good
don't
one.
think he could do that. Yeah, I don't think that DH could come into the game then. If the pitcher stayed in the game on that, or if the pitcher came into it, I'm not sure he could do that. Feels like somebody's got to go.
Yeah.
So,
We might have to, well,
I
I
don't know.
mean,
That's a goodie. That's an Elias one right there.
I have a
Where's
very
Milani?
strong feeling that both of us are going to be watching this game, if not in its entirety, at least for a lot of it. And we'll have to see if
I wish if it was
somehow
7:30 start, I would definitely stick around till he's finished and find out what happens. So
yeah. You think it too late for the dog on a weeknight?
Too late for the dog. Dog's been exhausted. Been a long week.
Yeah. Mets Dodgers though. It's
True.
kind of big. I mean, I'm a Yankee fan.
Yeah,
I'm going to stay up
I
to
got
watch
to
the
I
whole
got to see
thing.
Lindor hit the home
So,
run. That was nice. I saw
yeah.
the entire
Oh, he
offense
finally
last
got
night.
an he finally got
So
an RBI.
woo woo.
Somebody called up Mad Dog like before that game on Tuesday and was like, the Mets captain who got well, he's not the captain, right? But like the Mets flagship guy who got everybody shipped out has the same amount of RBIs as you and me combined.
Not wrong.
It's a lot of talk about that. Again, it too early. Like Nimmo American League MVP
At
right
some
now.
point, the Mets had four more hits than the Healy family. So
Like
that's a toughie. Yeah,
Marcus Simeon couldn't hit the water if he fell out of a boat.
yeah.
Nimmo's the leading.
McNeil looked pretty good. He was hitting 317. That'd be
Yeah.
pretty spiffy in the Mets right now. Couldn't find a couldn't find a place to put that guy. He plays everywhere. Hits for average, hits for power, and is a fierce competitor. No, no, get rid of
So Dog, the Yankees over in Yankee land, there's a little panic right now too. Judge started this game with a home run. Well, not that he led off, but he bats. Well, let's see, was he batting second tonight? Uh, what the hell is this lineup? No, third. Okay, so he homered in the first, and then Grisham had a two-run single in the second, and you figure the Yankees are off and running 3-0. Then the Angels get a homer by Frazier, a homer by Ohapi, and then a two-run homer by Trout, and they're holding this 4-3 lead all the way into the ninth with Jordan Romano against Giancarlo Stanton I mean, this would be great if we were doing Facebook Live right now, but instead it's reaction book live. Stanton looks at three straight balls and then two strikes looking against Jordan Romano, who couldn't hold a save for me the other night. Okay, the ball's in play and it's a line out to left field. Stanton hit the ball. The exit velo was 812 miles an hour. It was faster than the Artemis 2 upon reentry, apparently.
He's working all in there together. So I'm just happy my Orioles are hanging around for friend of the show, Boomer Hilbert, reporting from
Boomer Hilbert
Arizona.
reporting, but not listening to the show.
9-9. 9-9. Hanging in there.
All
Getting
right,
some
Dog.
dicks
How
in.
should we wrap it up? Little Strait of Hormuz talk, or should we put that on the back burner for another time?
We could Hormuz Max, sure, why not? We'll
Uh,
see.
it,
Hopefully it gets wrapped up soon.
Dog,
The
explain the effect of the Strait of Hormuz on energy prices to me like I was a kindergartner,
As
and
home
in two
explained to
sentences.
a 5-year-old or a golden retriever. We've cut back 5 to 10% of global oil supply. We are immediate from inventories for a while. We can't do that forever. If you keep it shut forever and whatever, then eventually new supply has to come on or demand has to get destroyed. So which means jobs go down and economies go down and bad things happen. So not good. Watch agriculture. A lot of fertilizer comes out of the Middle East because there's a lot of natural gas there. So it could be painful for people, particularly in Asia, for a lot of product, a lot of agriculture product getting hurt. Food prices going up, just bad stuff going all around. And the problem is, if you don't get it done now, the plants are already planted, and getting the fertilizer later doesn't help. So it's not like crude oil; you can make the gasoline later. If you don't have that fertilizer down, you're just not going to get the crop growth. So. So that's the bad news. But the good news is everyone's starting to kind of align that we should kind of get this wrapped up because it's sort of bad for everyone on all sides. So it's not helping Iran, it's not particularly helping us, not helping China. So everyone's kind of aligned that hey, we're the object is there to make a deal. So U.S. finally turning off Iranian exports. I thought that was an idiotic move. After the first couple weeks, I could see trying to keep oil prices low. Once you knew they were going to shut the strait and keep it shut, first thing they should have done was say, if everyone else can't export, neither can you. And that way, you basically turn the Iranian economy to zero. And who can last longer with that? Not them. So U.S. is finally starting to do that. And crude oil has actually been very well behaved. I thought it was, frankly, it's gonna be $150. So it's been very well behaved. Again, sort of people thinking that this can't persist. So um, stock market's up 2% on the year already. If you had told me the Strait of Hormuz is gonna be shut for 6 weeks and the stock market's up for the year, I would have said you're crazy. But here we is. So hopefully it all works out.
Stay tuned for more ahead of the midterms, where Dawg talks energy, and maybe some fun AI stuff ahead of the midterms, Dawg. There could
Oh,
be
we could have a
stuff
lot of fun.
being planned that we can't talk about. So once again, we'll wrap it up. Follow us on social media. The Dawg can be followed at Jeff Healy 8. That's the number 8 on X. You can find me. I went back to Rear Naked Choke on Twitter just because the Diamond Diehards one was just stuck. Like, I don't know. And then now I'm on that one, and like sometimes there are some good tweets. So at Rear Naked Choke there. Follow us on our Facebook group. Definitely hit the subscription button on YouTube. We need to make a little push there. Like we've had pushes in the past. I hate to say the number of subscribers that we have, but it was like 98 when we started this today. It would be nice to hit that 100 mark.
Yeah, give it a
And
little
then
love.
like maybe you get a little exponential thing going where
Yeah.
100 turns to 200, 200 to 400, 400 to 800, whatever. But let's
Tell
can we
tell
just
tell a friend to tell 200 friends.
yeah, or just get us to friggin' 100. My God, like it's the early days. You get, and
Little
then
pride.
when we're huge, you could say, "Hey, I was one of those first 100."
I was Mr.
Uh,
100.
so well, listen, who else is resurrecting Babe Ruth? So we could talk about Jackie Robinson. I can tell you nobody's doing that.
That is true.
There's other people that are trying to do stuff, but and we're not perfect, but I think it's a pretty good concept. Next up, we could keep doing Babe Ruth. It's like you kind of with Babe Ruth, you could never really run out, right? Like you could just do that. We could do that 10 more times if we want to get better at it and figure out some of this stuff. But I think we'll try to do Ty Cobb next. And, but either way, if you have a comment and you want to ask a question, put it in the comments. And if you have a suggestion for who we should do for AI, which AI agent we should build from the past, let us know. And, we'll take it into consideration and, pick out the best ones and do them. That easy.
There you go.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for the Dawg, Jeff Healy. This is Joe Rizzo. Thanks for checking us out. And for now, Diamond Diehards is out.